Phil Connors, I thought that was you.
Hi, how you doing? Thanks for watching.
Hey, hey. Now, don't you tell me you don't remember me, because I sure as heck fire remember you.
Not a chance.
Ned! Ryerson!
That gleeful line was delivered by the beloved character actor Stephen Tobolowsky. And if you don't recognize him from Groundhog Day, you might know him from Mississippi Burning, or Thelma and Louise, or Silicon Valley, or Memento, or any of the nearly 300 roles he has played. And today, he turns 73 years old.
And it turns out that apart from being a terrific and memorable actor, he's also a thoughtful, introspective guy with a gift for storytelling. Our Rob Caldwell got to talk with him about 5 years ago when he was in Maine promoting his memoir called My Adventures with God.
He tackles big questions with curiosity, a sense of humor, and as Rob found out, he loves meeting people while out on the road.
I never know what's going to happen on these events. I was just in New York City, and one of the people who came to the event was an actress named Sharon Ulrich. And I knew Sharon from when I first went out to Los Angeles. But what I forgot was, she's in the book.
That was kind of embarrassing.
So I'm talking to her, and I realized that I didn't get her permission to use the absolutely horrific story I wrote about her in the. No, I told her it was actually, she actually was a great comfort to me, but I did tell her that it was too late to sue me. Couldn't do it.
What kind of reaction have you gotten from people who've read the book who then come up to you and talk about it?
First of all, a lot of people just read it and say that they love it because it was funny. I had one interviewer read it and said that it opened his eyes to finding spirituality without relying on dogma, and without saying, like, can you sell me something? In terms of me, I look at it and I'm just trying to find out the answer to why I'm still here. I kind of had a few encounters with the Grim Reaper. And the problem is the Grim Reaper never looks like what you think he looks like in the books. Once I encountered the Grim Reaper in a grocery store buying mangoes.
A guy with a gun came into the store, right?
A guy came in with a gun and said, I see you're buying mangoes, the most exotic of fruits. And I figured he was probably one of the most exotic of fruits. I figured he was drunk or crazy. If I gave him a mango, he'd go away. And I reached into my shopping cart and I saw that he had a .45 caliber gun behind his back. And I knew at that second I was dead. And I offer him the mangoes and he sees the lifelessness in my eyes and puts the gun to my forehead. And I got out of that. I actually got out of that by inviting him to dinner. Eventually, after the SWAT teams and everybody was in there. But I didn't expect the Grim Reaper to look like that.
You've had other close calls. You broke your neck while riding a horse in Iceland. You've had heart bypass surgery and you weren't sure that you were going to make it out of that.
Yes.
You're obviously a man on a spiritual quest, so you've thought of these kinds of things. So what is your answer to the question of why are you still here?
I think I'm still here. And I thought about this. I didn't know you were going to ask me this question, but I was thinking about it this morning in the shower because I was at a residence inn and suites in Bangor, Maine. And it makes you think about your life, especially before you go to the breakfast bar and they have the waffle machine, because you get third-degree burns on those things. But I was thinking, why am I here? And I think if I didn't recognize the Grim Reaper when he showed up at the grocery store, or that beautiful day in Iceland when I was riding the horse, or when I was exercising with my father and felt a little something odd in my chest, I didn't recognize the Grim Reaper, then maybe I don't recognize the blessings when they come my way either. Maybe I don't know what they look like either. Maybe if I talk about the way I saw them and the way they approached me, I could help my two boys through their life so they would avoid the pitfalls, or maybe see blessing in catastrophe like I've done. But of course, they have never bothered to read the damn book. I wrote it for them and they never read it. They don't, they're children. Wait, maybe that's another blessing in disguise.
People have talked to you about the humor with which you approach these serious subjects, and it's evident very early on because just a few pages in, here's the photo of you raised as in a Jewish family. Here you are on the lap of Santa Claus.
Yeah. Santa was a very important figure in my life because he scared me to death. You know, everybody is afraid of clowns. I was terrified of Santa, and I think that was the image of God I had very early on, was something very much like Santa Claus, that would bestow goodies on you for no good reason at all. I think in religion they call that grace, when you get a blessing for no reason at all. And I grew up and I was thinking that maybe God wasn't like Santa Claus at all. You know, God, the idea of what God is changes through your life depending upon how idiotic you've been in your life. And I personally have been idiotic on very many occasions and got to see many facets of God.
You're not dogmatic. In fact, you write very early on in the book, I doubt, I believe.
Yeah.
Those 4 words in the same sentence. Pretty accurately sums up the way you wrestle with these questions?
Yeah, I think the big problem, first of all of us live by faith. I mentioned in the book that's why I still have a pair of pants in my closet with a 32-inch waist. I have faith that eventually I'll be able to wear those again. I think science, art, religion, certainty is the enemy of all of them. You talk to any real scientist, they're not into certainty. They're into finding out that they're wrong so they can study and find a more true answer. And I think it's the same thing with faith. We grow up with these childish ideas of who we are and where we are in the universe. But as we grow up, we have doubts, and we should use those doubts not to think that we're morons, which occasionally I have been. But you use it to go deeper and deeper and find more substantial truths.
Rob Caldwell with that conversation from 2018. And Stephen Tobolowsky is a wonderful storyteller, clearly. If you would like to hear more, including how he helped stop a riot and how changing one scene in Groundhog Day made it the classic it is today, just head over to our website where you'll find the entire
A lot of depth there.
So much depth.
And admittedly, he is one of those actors who I would find myself saying, you know that guy?
Yes.
You know the guy that plays because I would not pick up his name, but the face is so recognizable.
Right, the face, the voice, yeah.
As soon as he comes up, I'm like, oh, that guy, right.
But really, like you said, really, really in-depth
Yes.
conversation there.
Very enjoyable.